So, what do you think about the difference between build and buy?
Generically.
Yeah,
build
well,
versus
let's
buy.
let's start with build and buy.
So let me talk about build for a second, and we're talking about subscription billing management, just for context. So what companies generally underestimate is the level of effort required to build their own internal billing management system. So most software developers are problem solvers by nature, and they think, gosh, I can do this. I've either done something similar, or I know that I have the chops to get it done. And what tends to be underestimated is the level of effort required to maintain, to own and manage internal billing in an ongoing fashion. So we get a lot of companies coming to Recurly saying, gee, we actually built it in-house, and we've got 3 to 4 FTEs against it. And so you do the math in terms of, depending on which city you're in, 3 to 4 FTEs at, call it 100 and a quarter, 150 a head, that's a significant investment. So the build path ends up being typically much more expensive than the buy sort of SaaS model path, which is essentially a rent-to-own, pay-as-you-go model. And so we're finding that companies that are in the sort of earlier stage startup launch phase are much more inclined to say, gee, we've been focusing on our application and serving our customers' needs. And we actually appreciate that we don't want to manage the headache of billing internally and to essentially build internally. So sure, I'll rent to own. And so there's a couple of different pathways that end up coming to a SaaS model and saying, I'd rather anticipate the headache up front and just rent it up front, or gee, we've invested in it and we own it, and now we don't want to back out. We don't want to own it anymore.
Because I've been through that debate internally at a previous startup where the CTO said, well, I can build it. I don't need to buy it. Why would I want to buy it and spend money on buying it?
Sure.
And so for people who've gone down that route, I'm interested that you see them actually reversing out of that investment.
Absolutely. So I think what's happening increasingly is that companies are realizing that if billing is strategic to their company, but it's non-core, and they can actually buy it and rent it, that getting non-core functions out of the enterprise in this sort of lean enterprise time is the best way to focus scarce resources on their own personal IP, the ability to serve their customers better, and to reinvest in their company so that they can grow their company and just outsource what is non-core.
And not grow their software estate continually.
That's right. And the management overhead of that, managing all of these various platforms and services that they tend to want to grow in a homegrown fashion, ends up becoming incredibly complex. As you get all these permutations and interfaces coming together, you end up having to manage your own platform rather than managing your business.
And people tend to build brittle systems, don't they, internally, like non-flexible, non-scalable systems. I mean, that's an overgeneralization, isn't it?
So I think I would generally agree, but it depends, yes.
So when people want to change business models or change the way they do business, that's when they really struggle with internal systems that have been designed for a particular method, and then the business changes, and then they have to recode.
Right. Absolutely. So we actually see that all the time with our customer base, and one of the pieces of the value proposition that Recurly offers is we actually store credit cards. And that's not a sexy business to be in, but it affords a tremendous amount of flexibility for our customers, because when they want to change their payment gateway, whether it's from a geographic footprint perspective, they need a different payment gateway in Europe versus in the United States, or if they have a better offering in the US, they can switch by reconfiguring without having any business continuation interruptions.
So they resubmit effectively to the new gateway and stop submitting to the old gateway. So that's a nice competitive advantage.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.